This photo of my wife's grandmother was taken in 1910. It was a bit challenging to use. The original picture had had a hard life, as had her grandmother, we were to find out. The print made it across the ocean, tucked away in my mother-in-law's baggage and then in various drawers as the family moved around. This is what it looks like after being repaired using the MyHeritage software. Much better, but still a little wrinkly. So then the photo was then enhanced, again using MyHeritage processes to bring out primarily the facial features. Now I trimmed it to highlight the lady without too much background. Lastly, the color was restored in this case. It looked pretty nice actually when it was all done. One of the very few photos we have of this lady. In a presentation about volcanic activity and its effect on people, I found a picture online depicting the 1902 eruption of Mount Pelée on the island of Martinique. The image appears to be an artist's rendering, actually, and compilation of a photo of the eruption with the village of Saint Pierre superimposed on it. Pretty dirty looking to start with. I thought it might look impressive in color, so I took the sepia toned image and ran it through both the enhancement and colorizing processes of MyHeritage. It looked great in my presentation about the impact of volcanoes. One of my wife's cousins sent me a snapshot taken of her grandfather and members of his Scottish Rifles Regiment in Burma in 1943. That's the image at the top, and he's the gent at the left end of the back row. I had it enhanced, which is the middle photo, and then colorized as well, which is shown at the bottom. I used it in an article I wrote about him that was published in the Scottish Genealogist, which is the quarterly journal of the Scottish Genealogical Society. Another photo resided in one of the family albums of my wife's mother, taken the same year, actually, in 1943. She was the head cook at the officers' mess in Calgary during the war, and this was taken of her and some of her serving staff. She's the little lady on the right. A copy of the enhanced and colorized photo is actually now hanging on the wall of the refurbished club that now operates as a restaurant for the public. I also shared it with family members, and they were delighted to see the improved version. In the original, actually, you could not even distinguish her face very well. So this process is very, very valuable. Now, I also use MyHeritage enhancement process for images I find in articles, clippings from newspapers, and detailed charts. Now, whether you use these kinds of images for articles, presentations, or to copy for family members, it's very important that they be readable. Now, not to be too critical, Helen, but this clipping I flagged from the May 2024 issue of Family Tree magazine was barely decipherable. I did my own download of the article from the British Newspaper Archive, and it really wasn't very much better. But when I ran it through MyHeritage's enhanced process and darkened it a bit, the result was considerably clearer. Now, I've had similar problems with census sheets, passenger lists, and parish register entries, just to name a few. So any kind of document that has small type or hard to read script can do with enhancement, especially if you're going to publish the material. Now, I've talked a lot here about Photoshop or image editing. There are several software programs available to use, all involve though some payment to get a copy of it. I use an older version of Adobe Photoshop that I've had for years, so it works well for me, so I've not been tempted to get an update.